So, still have a massive hole in my wall.
But they're done digging to patch up that hole outside.
Which means we don't have to deal with leaks anymore right around here. For those of you who knew what was going on over the last couple of years, you know that basically every single spring we were just getting water flooding all through this area back there and right into my sister's office. But today we are done talking about that. What I wanted to do was continue on our last segment of Move Better Monday, which we basically talked about how to create some movement at the spine, get a little bit of that soft tissue released. And today we're gonna go over 3 exercises that are gonna help create some movement at the shoulder and also create a little bit more control and movement at the spine. What's going on, guys, and welcome to yet another episode of Move Better Mondays. Today is episode 19. And before we really get into it and we start going into all these different exercises, I wanted to remind you that if you haven't subscribed, hit that button below. So if you haven't seen last week's episode, I'm gonna link it. I'm gonna get this right the first time. I'm gonna link it right there. You guys can check that episode out right now. And it's really going to be the kind of building up to this episode. And the reason why I say that is last week we spoke about how to create mobility at the spine. We also talked about how to release a lot of the tissue that's up and around the shoulder and right up through that spine. So when you get a chance to take a look at that, which is gonna be linked right up there, what I would like you to do is kind of understand that the biggest difficulty with this, and today we're gonna go over 3 other exercises that are gonna be more for creating mobility, but what's gonna happen is you're gonna notice that once we get to this episode, the limiting factor is time. There's so many exercises that we can go through, and there's so many ways your body can react to each of these different exercises that we almost have to pick and choose the best ones we possibly can. So again, these may not be the best exercises for you. They may not work super well, but these have been the ones that have just given me the best results for me personally and for my clients. So I would definitely recommend going through them, but don't be sold on this as the only and absolute way to do them. And don't think that I really only use these exercises. There's nothing else that I ever use. I use a ton of different exercises, but when we only have a limited amount of time, we gotta kind of narrow things down and pick the best ones we possibly can. And that's what I'm trying to do for you. I'm trying to put together the best possible workout for you and the best possible solution for your shoulder pain. So basically what we're gonna end up really starting with is the first exercise, which is going to be a Budda. It's basically gonna be to extend the back up, and we're really gonna need to get on the ground for this. Now the Budda is basically an exercise to help you kind of extend the spine and get some basic extension while moving the arms through different patterns. What that's gonna do is that's gonna help kind of initiate that understanding between shoulders moving and spine staying up straight. So it's gonna get the muscles that are around the spine to really start working to hold you upright. And it's also a little bit of a challenging position to get in. So it's not something that if you struggle with is impossible. We just have to make a little modification and basically put a little block or a phone book or something. Phone books probably don't exist anymore, but you can maybe find a phone book. And then basically just prop it up underneath you so you're sitting on that, which is gonna help you just kind of fall into that position a little bit better. So essentially what you're gonna do is sit with your legs crossed. You're gonna try to get the outside of your legs to hit your feet. From here, you're gonna spend 10 seconds in this first initial position where you're trying to pull up straight, get your spine as tall as you possibly can, keeping that chin and head packed in and pulled back. This is gonna be the position you're gonna stay in the entire time. So from there, I'm gonna turn a bit so you can kind of see this now. From here, you're gonna bring one hand behind your head and you're gonna hold this for 10 seconds. Then you're gonna bring the other hand behind your head for 10 seconds. When you're done this, what I like to do is I like to have my athletes and clients reach up as high as they can and then come back down. And essentially going up and down is where you're really gonna start noticing a lot of that pull, because what's gonna be happening is your body's gonna have to stay in the same place and now start acting as a foundation, kind of an anchor point for your arms to be moving around. So that right there is the first exercise. Now I don't know why I just rotated and basically tried to transition out of that. The second exercise requires you to be in the exact same position. So get back in that position now that we've kind of generated that kind of tall spine structure and look to your body. What we're gonna do is cross the arms, and now we're gonna work on rotation of that thoracic spine, which is basically up there. The reason we need thoracic spine rotation is because we don't want that rotation to be coming from the lower body or the lower back. Basically that lower lumbar segment of your spine, we don't want the rotation to be coming from there. We want the rotation to be coming from your thoracic spine. So grabbing hold of your legs, getting up nice and tall again. From here, we're just gonna rotate and try to pull ourselves as far as we can the other way. I'm not trying to reach with my elbows. It doesn't really matter if my elbows go back any further. You wanna really hold your arms up here to kind of keep yourself honest and stay tall. And then from here, rotate as hard as you can and really try to push that limit. Go to the other side, rotate again, push that limit. You're gonna go back and forth about 5 to 6 times per side, but holding it for about 5 seconds and really trying to go to each side as much as possible. So now we've hit rotation, we've hit extension in the Budda, and now we're gonna work on really targeting that shoulder and creating some mobility in that shoulder. So the third exercise you're going to be doing is called a shoulder car. Not a shoulder vehicle car, but a car, C-A-R, which is essentially just spelled the same way. So basically a shoulder car is essentially a controlled articular rotation. I probably did that wrong in the camera, but a controlled articular rotation or a controlled articular rotation. So essentially what it is essentially a way for you to start kind of creating some movement and going through an entire range of motion with the shoulder. Now, if you are dealing with shoulder pain, you might be limited with this exercise. The reason for that is that your body may be preventing you from moving in a position. You may have a pretty big impingement. You may have a bunch of other things going on. So this may not be the greatest exercise for you if your pain is restricting your movement. But what you are gonna do, even though you have a restricted movement, is you're still gonna wanna kind of create some basic improvements in your range of motion. Now, if you have been dealing with shoulder pain for a little bit of time and you want to try to find a way to kind of create some movement, this is a great exercise for you because it really does channel your muscles to create range for you, and it's really waking up a lot of the movements and muscles that are in there and helping you kind of work your way through it. So all you're basically going to need is get yourself to a squat rack, something you can brace your body. This isn't going to work. So I just realized I can't swing my arm through a barbell, so I have to get that out of the way. Let me turn this a little bit here, maybe get that, there we go. So from here, what I'm doing is I'm bracing my body by holding onto a rack. You don't have to do it against a squat rack, you can do it up against a door frame, it doesn't really matter. You gotta grab a hold of something, and from here, all I'm doing is bringing my arm up and as far back as possible, and then bringing it back in front of me. I'm going one way, and then I'm coming back and going the other way. Now I did it a little bit quicker just to kind of speed up the clip, but you want to take your time and really go through that range and basically just try to go and reach as far as you can back. I'm actually trying to reach as far as I can here. What that's doing is that's allowing my shoulder blade, which is a really important component, which we spoke about last time and I think time before that too, basically trying to create some movement there and getting the shoulder blade to start getting used to moving around over your rib cage. That is what we call scapulothoracic rhythm, and I almost forgot what it was called. So when you are able to improve your scapulothoracic rhythm, which is basically that movement around the shoulder blade, you're gonna be movement of your shoulder blade around the rib cage, you're gonna be getting a lot better movement out of that shoulder. So put those 3 exercises together. Let me know what you guys think. Again, if you haven't subscribed, hit that button down below. Leave me a little comment. Give me a thumbs up. See you guys next week.